supervisory fish biologist for the Zigzag Ranger District on the Mount Hood National Forest. We're standing on Still Creek. We're at the confluence of where the Cool Creek comes into Still Creek. And the one reason why we're here right now is I want to show that, you know, this section of the river is generally not in good, healthy, complex habitat for salmon and steelhead. We're at the very lowest flow of the year, and when they're seeing this, there's just a lot of energy going through here. There's not a lot of pools. It's really just a long ripple with large boulders and cobbles. So there's really no spawning habitat here. There's no holding water for them to take a rest. There's no habitat, some of that off-channel habitat for the juveniles to rear and get their food. Fortunately for Still Creek, back in the early 90s, the fish biologists here at Zigzag were really thinking ahead and just seeing that there were problems. So they're some of the first fish biologists within the Forest Service to say, we need to put large wood back in the rivers. There's many forests throughout the United States and the Pacific Northwest that were still harvesting wood out of the rivers. They were removing wood out of the rivers, thinking that there are fish passage barriers. They have put in these single log structures here. They cabled them down to large boulders, and they really were doing a lot of great things. But after some significant floods like the ones in 1996, 2006, and 2011, as you can see here, that some of these large pieces of wood got deflected downstream. They're not really interacting with the river as much and not creating that habitat that the fish need. So right now we're on the 2612 road. This is my log deck that I'm getting ready for restoration work next year and the following years here. We get a lot of these logs. These are hazard trees that are along highways and roads, or if there's any blowdowns across the roads, we have our engineers push them off to the side, and then I go out with my contractors and collect these and get these staged for my restoration project. So we have about 80 to 90 sticks of wood here. We really like the ones with root wads. It keeps everything held into place when we put them into the stream. But we're about halfway of what I think I need for next year's restoration project. Alright, so why do we do these kind of products? Why are we bringing in so much large wood? Well, because of past human practices with removing wood from the streams, just disrupting the riparian area. It's going to take, estimated to take about 200 years to get the kind of recruitment of large wood in here. And this was an old growth forest with huge trees that were falling over, you know, every few years. So there would be about 300 pieces of large wood all through this area. Well, now with the fires that have gone through here and just really altering the habitats out here, it'd take a long time to get those natural processes back. So what we're doing here is we're really jump-starting the river system here for salmon and steelhead. So these large wood structures created a lot of habitat, but they're also going to build on that too. As more large wood comes floating down river, they're going to rack up on these structures and be retained within the system here and not keep floating down river and heading out to the ocean. We have already water going off onto the floodplain. Right after, within a day of reactivating these side channels, we had juvenile coho and steelhead in there feeding away, and this is just going to grow upon itself. We're going to get more wood racked up on here. We're going to have more water going out onto the floodplain. Right, so we're at another site here on the Still Creek, another log jam structure here. We cabled over 3 trees right here. What we needed here was some spanning logs that went all the way across the river. We had a leveling rod. We had to make sure everything was at the right grade, at the right height, and we had to be within less than an inch to make sure that we covered the entire channel. We're at the right slope and right grade to get water to be going shooting everywhere. Where I'm at right here, we got about 30 to 40 logs keyed in all the way down to the max scour depth. And when I look upstream, the river's coming straight at me. And when the river comes up during the winter, during a flood event, it's going to just slam into the structure and go squirting everywhere across the floodplain, reactivating the side channels all the way out. And we already have coho and juvenile steelhead in these off-channel habitats already.